Leading the Dow is United Health after positive earnings. All Dow stocks, as I mentioned, finishing up. Over in the S&P, Adobe was the big winner. W.W. Grainger was the decliner. Mike, so much strength across the board today. Yeah. What does that tell you?
This is a stronger bounce than maybe you might have expected, given how the two efforts at rallies in the past couple of days really did fizzle toward the end or didn't have any follow through. That being said, we've regained, just to dial it back a little bit, the S&P 500 went down about 200 points in 6 trading sessions into last Thursday. We've recovered about 40% of those losses. So this was, I don't want to say the easy part, but because it was such an air pocket on the way down, you didn't spend a lot of time in there. When sellers went away, when the bond market stays out of the way, when the foreign exchange markets are calm, there was nothing to get in the way from a very oversold market from snapping back. That's what we saw right now. Also, I think the last couple of days showed you there was nobody forced to sell. There was none of these kind of weird mechanical effects where some funds were trapped and they had to liquidate. That went away at the end of last week. So right now, we have this bounce. All of these bounces, don't end up in a full recovery, but all full recoveries start with a bounce like this.
It's interesting you mentioned that towards the end, because I was going to ask, does it, to the downside, do the algos and the index funds come into play, but not when we bounce back?
I wouldn't say it's purely index funds. It's basically whatever strategies were leveraged to stocks and bonds having a certain relationship, and then you had to unwind some trades. And then when the volatility levels get high, the risk management programs come in and they just reduce their risk across the board. So without getting too much in the weeds with it, it seemed like people were on edge that might be more of that activity coming into this week. It didn't show up. The rubber band was stretched. We snapped halfway back.
But if you look at the winners on the overall winning market, Charlie, it was an earnings story. Do you expect that earnings will continue to provide assurance to this market?
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you led with that. That's absolutely what's going on here. People have continued to underestimate earnings all year long. People have underestimated the impact of taxes, underestimated the health of the economy. There is a lot of leverage in corporate America where you get a little bit of a better increase in revenue than you expect, and more of that falls to the bottom line.